Well, the time is just gone 8:44. We continue with the broadcast this morning. We continue taking reaction to the cabinet reshuffle. And we are now going across to be joined by the Secretary General of the Public Service and Commercial Union of South Africa, Tahir Maepa. Tahir, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As always, an absolute pleasure having you with us here on Salam Media.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for having me.
Well, the big talking point has been the cabinet reshuffle. Just your initial thoughts, your reactions, Tahir?
Well, it is what it is. It's a reshuffle. Obviously, nothing spectacular happened. It's just a matter of just shifting the same dead wood around, and with the hope that something will give. However, I think the most important appointment that the president has made was the appointment of the so-called Minister of Electricity, a ministry that we don't believe that it was necessary for him to go to great lengths to have a separate ministry to deal with electricity. However, this is the demonstration that we have a president that is under siege. Clearly, his comrades are not playing ball. And his comrades, I'm referring to people like Pravin Gordhan and Gwede Mantashe, who are primarily responsible for all this mess that we are seeing. But he's sitting in a very difficult position because a person like Gwede Mantashe, being the chairperson of the African National Congress, is not somebody that you can just fire. And for some reason, Pravin Gordhan seems to have a voodoo on these guys. He keeps on just reappearing, despite the fact that he has proven to be one of the most useless ministers in the current portfolio. However, if you look at the appointment of Dr. Kgosientsho Ramokgopa, I think it's pretty much what we would have expected as a replacement, not to create a new ministry. Kgosientsho Ramokgopa comes from a very impressive background in terms of service delivery. When he was the mayor of the city of Tshwane, he did very well. And when he had a short stint in Gauteng, you could see that the portfolio of economic development was starting to gain traction. Unfortunately, he had to be sacrificed because of the 50-50 rule of women and men in the ANC. And they had to sacrifice one of the most hardworking, intelligent individuals. And then they left again a couple of dead woods in Gauteng. That is why we see our beloved province in the state that it's in. But it remains to be seen whether his intelligence and his hardworking spirit will be able to be accommodated, and it will be able to be supported with all these knives that are already out for him. We must understand that the issue of electricity in this country goes beyond just issue of load shedding. There's a lot of criminality within Eskom and within the whole energy stream. So whether he'll be able to deal with that, because we are told, and we've seen in the reports, that some politicians within the ruling party, within cabinet, are part of those criminals who are benefiting billions out of Eskom. Whether he'll be getting the necessary support to make sure that he snuff out these elements, it's something that one will have to watch and see as time goes.
Well, when one looks at the performance of the president and, you speak about the reshuffling, and someone actually just sent me a message saying that the cabinet or reshuffling a cabinet of ANC cadres is effective as having 4 flat tires and swapping them around. And Tahir, the president has not been able to get rid of some of the dead wood that you actually speak of. And this presented an ideal opportunity because this is a critical time for the country. We are in dire straits. We are at one of our lowest points in this country at this point in time, and it presented an ideal opportunity for him to do a major cleanup, which he hasn't done. And it does appear that this is more, political rather than putting the interest of the country ahead of everything else.
Absolutely. And Ramaphosa has proven to the country more than once that he will always put his party before our country. And in fact, the second most important thing to him is his Angoles in Palapala. We are down in the food chain in terms of importance in his life. So I didn't expect much from him. He just made us to wait for months for something that you could have just sent a media statement on. Because truly speaking, there's nothing of essence that has happened. However, we must also understand that the issue of electricity, if it's not resolved, the economy of this country is gone. It's gone to the dogs, and this country, as one of the most promising nations in the world, will really go under. So it is very important that, in as much as we don't agree that it's a correct thing to increase cabinet, and whilst it's already this bloated, we need to just say that Dr. Ramaphosa needs to be supported, and we need to do everything in our power to make him succeed. Because if he doesn't succeed, we are all in trouble. So here it's just a matter of putting aside our firm positions, our firm views, and say that, you know what, a decision has been taken. We may not have agreed with that particular decision, but here is a man who's capable, qualified, able. What do we do to support him to make sure that he succeeds? Because he's definitely not going to get the support that he needs from his own comrades.
Well, this is the biggest concern because this is the man who is highly qualified, he's intelligent, and he has got potential. He's young, he's energetic. And again, the key issue here is even when one looks at the revelations that Andre de Ruyter had actually made, and where there's smoke, there's fire. Sometimes, we will say, okay, throw certain things out of the window. But we've had people like Gwede Mantashe, we've had people like Pravin Gordhan that have had they've had a massive influence on what is taking place at Eskom. Even the appointment of Andre de Ruyter, was of their doing. So the key issue here is, will the new Minister of Electricity be given the opportunity to do what he needs to do and to thrive in the position that he finds himself in?
Yes, you see, this is the whole thing, and the list of those failures, it includes the president himself. Remember, the president was the head of the war room as the deputy president under the stewardship of President Zuma. So President Ramaphosa really needs to sit him down and say, bro, you know what, I have failed, and these are the curveballs that you need to look into. To throw this man under the bus is not the correct thing to do. I just hope that the president, when he makes the amendments and he bestows some constitutional powers to Dr. Ramaphosa, it will be solid powers that he can be able to take decisions without people like Gwede Mantashe and Pravin Gordhan having a veto power over what he'll be doing. Because if that is not going to be the case, if he's not going to be given the necessary constitutional powers, unfortunately, they are going to spend more time trying to figure out what needs to be done instead of doing anything. So it's very important. And that is why we, as trade unions, as civil society, as South Africans, we need to really look at this thing closely and make sure that we give him the necessary support that he may need, that he will not be getting from his own comrades. We must also then, as South Africans, make sure that, you know what, this vandalism that is happening in terms of our infrastructure, we really do not see these things as movies, that every time we see people vandalizing our infrastructure, we take videos in order to put them on TikTok. We need to act. We cannot rely completely on government, because government cannot be everywhere. This is supposed to be government by the people, for the people. And we as the people, we also have responsibility. And if we are not going to discharge our responsibility as South Africans, this government, as it is failing, it will just collapse. And we can't afford a government that collapses, because when it collapses, it will collapse with us. So we need to come in and chip in and do our part to make sure that this thing works.
Well, Tahir, we're going to have to leave it at that. As always, we appreciate your time. And Jazakallah for that. And looking forward to future engagements, inshallah. But for now, all the best to you, my brother. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Tahir Maepa joining us this morning, and he is the Secretary General of the Public Service and Commercial Union of South Africa. Come back, we'll be talking with an energy expert, their reaction to the appointment of the Minister of Electricity.